start how you want to make a name for yourself in this program. And that's exactly what they're doing.
We've got to put the teaser out there. We'll tell you all the information as we roll along here. Here is what we know. The starting five for Virginia looks like this, Lauren.
Jillian Brown, as she has been doing so good so far. Kamora Johnson up top right now. Both two new players to this program.
Well, and the first basket going to belong to Jillian Brown, who you referenced there. The junior gets Virginia on the board right out of the chute.
I mean, how great has she been? She comes from Northwestern, and she's able to provide that immediate impact from the guard position. She's pesky, and on offense, she is looking to score.
Jillian Brown with the first Virginia Ports couple of seasons at Northwestern before working her way here to Charlottesville, and a good start for her, a good start for UVA, as you see a couple of wins under the belt of the Cavaliers squad, averaging right at 75 points in their first two contests of the year. William and Mary looking for an answer on offense. First possession for the Tribe. They work it inside, and it will eventually be out of bounds. Stays on this end with William and Mary.
Yeah, looking for a win also right now. This William and Mary team has been playing so hard. They've had very close games in their first three outings out, and we just saw Nyla Young down low, whose name we talked about in the open. They're going to be looking to get their offense running through her.
You mentioned the 0-3 start. Could have been a completely different story. Two losses of a combined just a couple of possessions out of the three thus far. Down the lane it goes, and able to drop it home for Virginia is Kamora Johnson. First points of the night for the first year.
That's the pace that Coach Mox talks about. She loves to see her team get the ball off of one end and go straight down to the other for a basket.
Brown looking ahead. And back out to Johnson, who will handle the basketball effectively for Virginia as well. A battle to get it inside. Taylor won't see her shot go. And a rebound to William and Mary.
Wasn't able to put it down there, but Virginia seems very lax in this offense right now. They're getting the shots that they want.
Another one cleaned up by Brown. Scramble for it, stays with Virginia, and left-handed job to put that up by London Clarkson, and it drops through.
Slow and controlled move for Clarkson, and a little bit of chaos there. She had a pretty big game against Campbell for this Virginia squad, who was dealing with some foul trouble. She was able to score 12 points and shoot perfect 6 for 6 from the line.
Good to see Clarkson out there for UVA, some of the stability she's able to provide. William and Mary still searching for that first bucket. It won't come on this trip down the floor. 6-0 start for Virginia, but the carry will turn it over, and it'll be the Tribe basketball.
Tribe right now is looking for their first bucket. We've seen time and time again, they like to get the ball in the paint before they kick out and start taking long-range jumpers.
Pass inside, and there it is. First points come from one that you talked a little bit about prior to tonight's game. That's Young scoring for William and Mary.
Oh yeah, 5'11" down there, but she is a big body. She's strong, and she uses her body against her defense so well to get her shots.
Scored 29 points against Norfolk, most in an opener in program history. And finally able to break that initial run for UVA of 6-0. With her basket here in Charlottesville. Down to the deck, and that's going to be a tie-up. Possession arrow will keep it with William and Mary. Checking in for the Cavaliers, Odessa Noyen. Noyen, another of the first years, of course, coming from a little further distance than Johnson, the native of Sweden, into the basketball game now.
And she's been great for them off of the bench, providing anything that coach needs. After that first game, she said, hey, I am willing to do whatever my coach and teammates need to get the win.
3.5 points, 7 rebounds. When you talk about the consistency through the first couple, the averages to this point. Rebound being wrestled away by Taylor as it stays with Virginia.
I mean, Cameron Taylor just comes from out of nowhere sometimes with these rebounds. She didn't have the position, but was able to get her hands on the ball just enough to where she didn't get called for an over the back.
Taylor, of course, the staple when you talk returners. But all these new faces for Virginia are building around. They work down inside her direction once more, but that rolls off the iron. To tie it, and back of the rim. William & Mary withstanding Virginia's 6-0 run to begin things, and now as we close in on the midway point of the first period, tried within a basket looking for another defensive stop.
Cameron Taylor not able to see the ball go through the net yet, but she's getting these very close shots. It seems like when she gets right there to shoot it, she takes a little bit of a rush.
Now punched away and into the hands of Kimora Johnson. Inside toward Jillian Brown, and with that horn, a welcome sight for Virginia. Here is the return of Sam Brunell. Word began to trickle she was going to be available tonight, though she would not start. And this is a major development for Virginia to have the first of the 4 who've been injured back on the floor.
Yeah, if you're a Cavalier fan, you are excited to see Brunell not only on the floor, but healthy at this stage of the season. I mean, she comes into the season as a Katrina McLean Award, which means the nation's top power forward. And she's definitely has the numbers over the past few years to prove that. It's just all been about her health so far.
Grad transfer, had the experience at Notre Dame before coming over, dealt with foot injury situation last year, not able to go in the first couple, but Virginia able to work her back into the lineup here. Cavaliers add to the lead at 8-4 as she enters. Brown adding to her early total as she is been responsible for a couple of buckets for UVA already. Answer on the other end. William & Mary beginning to settle in a little bit, it seems, Lauren.
Oh, yeah, hitting that baseline drive with no help there from Virginia defense.
And you talk about youngsters. Here's one they are very high on in Williamsburg as Geddes gets involved. Virginia on the other end sees it rim off. Brown tried to go all the way back with it, but a hand on it. It's out of bounds to UVA. So quick start for Virginia. William & Mary battles back. Sam Brunell back in the first quarter in Charlottesville.
Anywhere on the court, but then you have to talk about the efficiency. 40% from the three-point line last season, and then 91.2% from the free throw line. When you see Brunell, you see buckets.
Her leadership and presence so key for Virginia. She scored 13 points in the win for Virginia in Williamsburg over William & Mary, the 83-54 victory the last time these two teams met. And here is Virginia cheering what is now a double-digit total as they are able to get her involved right away.
And that pass look, you see London Clarkson going to work on the block. That's what happens when Sam Brunell comes in the game. You can do a 4-in, 4-out, 1-in.
Now, Brunell being back to some degree also a reminder, Lauren, of all that is still not. Virginia still with a trio of players they're hoping to get involved at some point as the season goes along. Of course, the headliner of that group, Mira McLean, looked no further than that battle a year ago between these two teams, in which she scored 22 and pulled down a career-high 17 rebounds. When McLean returns, obviously, you also look for the return of Paris Clark. You look for the return of Caden Lawson. That's going to be a big part of it for Virginia. But this is huge for Brunell to be back and now back in the scorebook as well.
Yes, one game at a time for this Virginia squad.
Still shorthanded, of course, a Virginia team that was so shorthanded at the end of the year last year. They had to turn down a postseason berth earned with that stellar start to the season. The Virginia team going perfect in non-conference, including that win against their opponent out of the CAA. The series that is renewed again here tonight. Out of bounds to Virginia, and Kimora Johnson is back into the basketball game.
You see a William & Mary player get the tip on that ball. Her coach Davis talked about their defense leading to their offense. It'll be interesting to see how they're able to disrupt Virginia.
Quick turn and an attempt to try it from distance for Brunel. I referenced the meeting last year, if you're wondering about it. All-time series against the Tribe, 12-0 Virginia, a series that dates back to the mid-70s.
Oh, yeah. Last time the Tribe won was actually in their second meeting ever in 1972 and 73 season.
But new eras for both programs, as we talked about coming in. And you really have to take these two coaches, what they did with these programs, as two of the real storylines that came to light around the Commonwealth. And we were talking about the talent of Virginia basketball. It's no surprise that so many of those Virginia products on these rosters making their difference. When you consider the run that Virginia Tech had to the Final Four a year ago, obviously Virginia's unbeaten start and the perfect non-conference record, and then William & Mary putting together the type of season under a first-year head coach they were able to put together in the CAA. High times in the Commonwealth, and the coaches reminded us, Lauren, as we'll get the foul on the drive left side of the lane. Coaches reminded us that that's because so many of these players from Virginia, from the DMV for that matter, all staying home these days to represent these stellar programs.
Oh, yeah. They called it the Mecca of basketball for girls and boys basketball at the high school level, where they knew that there would be a hotbed in Virginia, and so they're staying there. They're trying to get kids close to home.
4 of them on this William & Mary roster are part of the mix as well. That foul, the first on Brunel prior to this sequence, which ends with Virginia coming away with the basketball once more. Johnson zips a pass inside. Turnaround that's off the front of the rim for Clarkson. And there to clean it up, attempt to put it back is Smith, and she'll draw contact.
Yeah, Alexia Smith oftentimes is just in the right place at the right time when it comes to rebounds or 50-50 balls. She is usually in the play. In the paint for Virginia right now, not able to finish these bunny buckets at the basket. We've seen Taylor come up short for almost 5 of her first 5 of the shots.
Well, Friday we have 2 featured ACC men's basketball matchups. First, Bucknell takes on 9th-ranked Duke in Durham. That's at 6 Eastern. And then UC Riverside in Chapel Hill to face 20th-ranked North Carolina. That is at 8 Eastern. You can catch all the action on both the ACC network and the ESPN app. When you talk about Smith, who was at the line there, they are so high on what she provides defensively, and everything on the other end of the floor a bonus. Clarkson trying to body up on this occasion on Beckwith, and the foul is called underneath. Second team foul on Virginia, and the first on Clarkson.
Beckwith getting on the boards and making her time valuable. We saw Nyla Young there go for another drive at the basket, but Virginia's second line defense has just been coming over early with that help, and that's the key. When you have a driver, a drive first mentality player, you have to make sure that your second line of defense is always there.
And Beckwith, by the way, in keeping with that theme about products from this portion of the country, making her 5th career start in the opener, which she scored 4 and brought down 6 boards in about 16 minutes of action. And she will secure her first 2 from the free throw line in this go-round. This whistle going to be on the floor. It's going to be against Geddes. First personal charge to the freshman out of Hickory, North Carolina.
Another out of bounds underneath the basket opportunity for Virginia. They were able to catch someone slipping last game, but this time they're just going to pull it out.
Well, looking around for options, but deciding to go ahead and take it that time was Johnson, but it rims off. Keska brings it up the floor. Hard toward the rim goes Rebecca Frisbee-Smith, the Australian. And it'll be William and Mary's underneath the basket. Inside the final minute of the opening period, Virginia had an initial spurt, a 6-0 run, and have now reestablished a lead of just that as we enter the final minute of the opening period.
Yeah, struggling to see the ball go through the net, but defensively still holding their stands firm to avoid in the paint points for William and Mary.
Cavaliers shooting at a clip of 29% thus far to 23% from the field for William and Mary. Interestingly enough, when you looked at the numbers for these two teams, the one that was almost even was field goal percentage. William and Mary shooting at a clip of 38.8. Virginia at 38% even coming into tonight.
Yeah, things look a little bit different when you get two teams who are very strong-headed on their defensive end of the court and making sure the other team is uncomfortable.
That shows itself, Lauren, to your point, in the early percentages that we see here and how difficult it's been to score. Virginia 0 of its last 6 and 2 of its last 10. William and Mary 0 of its last 5. 1 of the last 8. So that defense really showing itself in the stretch run of this first period.
Yeah, it's like after that first timeout, both teams were able to lock back in on those principles.
Shot clock off. And William and Mary trying to take what looked to be perhaps the final possession for a spin, but is lost out of bounds to Virginia. And the Cavaliers will have it with 4 seconds remaining in the period. Just off with the last second heave, but that 14-8 lead Virginia had built in effect after 1. Cavaliers in command.
Always been about defense, rebounding, and getting better every single day, and that's the focus, and you can see that in these wins.
Well, one of the things that this team certainly focused on, taking advantage of the preparation these 3 games provide before a big weekend coming up for this Virginia squad. Her team beginning, as we saw in that first quarter tonight, get some of the pieces back with the return of Brunel. And though it maybe wasn't the prettiest quarter from a shooting standpoint on either side, you mentioned the importance of the defense, Virginia does carry a lead into the second.
Yeah, both teams not shooting it incredibly well right now, but I think the emphasis should really be on running these plays all the way through and getting the best opportunity and look at the basketball.
Kamora Johnson again beginning this period for Virginia with a basket that will double up the William and Mary total to this point. Tribe looking for an answer from beyond the arc, and that will go down. Boy, nice true stroke to pull within 5.
First 3 of the night for Geddes. She's able to do that. The young freshman is able to get in the paint, but also knock down a 3 or 2. So Virginia has to be aware of that.
Scored season high 11 against Mason in just her 3rd career collegiate game. And one thing you can tell about Geddes is you see Clarkson go down to the deck here after the contact. One thing about Geddes, playing 20 minutes in each of the first 3 games, starting the opener. You see Johnson in the heart of your screen right now as well. These are young players for both of these programs that are expected to carry a great deal of the load, Lauren, at the very start of their careers. And the first of the shots will fall for Clarkson. Gives us a chance to remind you that on Sunday you can catch a women's basketball doubleheader. But first, it is that big game coming against Oklahoma for the Virginia Cavaliers. That's 2 Eastern, then Bucknell and 19th ranked Louisville at 4 Eastern. All that available to you on the app and the network. And, tonight an important night in so many ways, Lauren, because it is Virginia's last tune-up before what is going to be a real barometer of where this program is early in the season coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, they're going to get a lot of tests, but right here we see London Clarkson stepping in the lane and taking a charge. She does that so well. We talked about their defense having help side for these William & Mary drivers, and that was a great opportunity to see that there.
And the charge, you've got the 6 turnovers that have been forced to this point by that Virginia D, to just a couple surrendered by UVA to this point. This shot will not fall. And quickly on the other end, looking for a transition bucket is William & Mary. It is not to be. Foul going to be called as substitutions are coming in as well.
Yeah, Nyla Young down there on the block battling with Cameron Taylor for that position. She's got 2.
Young picking up her 2nd personal. True for both she and Geddes. We talked about the young player and the contributions William & Mary expects to get from Geddes. Both the premier performer coming in and the youngster having picked up a couple of fouls each to this point. Rebound to Kamora Johnson. Coast to coast for Kamora Johnson, and such touch to lay that in.
I mean, the way she just dribbles through defenders who aren't even fully back yet. They see her, but they can't stop her.
Well, the former Virginia ball girl now wearing the Cavalier colors, taking it the distance to extend the UVA lead.
Auto Owners protects your home.
They've been making it look easy in transition, even got a little bit of a hip bump there, but she, before coming to Virginia, the University of Virginia, she's a McDonald's High School All-American, 2-time Gatorade State Player of the Year, and I mean, boy, she doesn't let opponents get in front of her when she is driving downhill. She makes it look so easy and so seamless.
2 games into her young Virginia career, 15 per game. The average, also 6.5 boards pulled down when you split her initial couple of efforts, and already off to a good start again here as she has 6 points for Virginia and a couple of boards already. And just grabbed another on cue. Johnson has it again. Wide open look, but an extra step before the shot went up for McGee. The traveling violation turns it over to William & Mary.
Yeah, she tried to hop into that shot, but didn't time it up just yet for the freshman.
Well, how about the way the freshmen continue to shine? You know, obviously, we said it. You have those freshman moments you would expect, and Coach Mox talking about that. But there have also been moments of brilliance for each of the freshmen that are getting early playing time for Virginia. Not just the freshmen, though. Here's Brown knocking down a tray.
Jillian Brown, that's just her 2nd 3 of the season, which is crazy because she's had 20 or 13 points per game averaging this season. And at the free throw line, or at the 3-point line, that's only her 2nd.
Well, an answer on the other end for William & Mary to stay within 10. It's Beckwith, who has 4. Is solid in her response.
Talk about timing it up. An opportunity for her to drive, but she noticed her defense was lagging off, opening up a beautiful shot from long range.
One of the things we'll talk about, family connections tonight, as a sister. Valpo certainly came in highly recruited in her own right. One of was in the top 50 rankings wise, and the journey bringing her to this moment where now such a contributor for Virginia on the young season. There's 3 to shoot for UVA. And just ahead of the horn, a 3 that won't fall. Fresh possession. And as the battle for it was going on, Brunel is fouled.
Yeah, good timing on that from London Clarkson to see that kick out. Didn't go down, but Sam Brunel continued to fight and pursue the ball coming off the rim.
Keska picks up her first personal. But Virginia in the bonus. And Brunel to the line.
Yeah, neither team shooting extremely well from the floor right now. However, I think it comes down to prioritizing each possession. William and Mary right now, 6 turnovers. Virginia has 3.
Well, and the Cavaliers, before that off the front of the rim, was a perfect 5 for 5 on the trips to the charity stripe. The first miss, meaning just one of the 2 go down for Brunel, and Virginia's lead at 11. Now a traveling violation against the Tribe. I mentioned the shooting to this point, 5 of 20 for William and Mary. Virginia, 9 of 28 from the floor to this point. 32%. That'll raise it a bit as the whistle comes along with this basket that goes down for Brunel.
Yeah, when there's an and one on this Virginia squad, everyone gets pumped. The fans, the coaches, the players. Sam Brunel just using her body to continue to go north and south instead of east and west, and she's able to knock it down, almost knocked over the ref, but she was able to contain herself just a tad.
Yeah, got to take care of the officials as well, right? Tom Donaher, Roy Jackson, Lauren Nemera, the crew tonight in this one. And boy, what an added bonus it has been. Not maybe expected coming into the day, but Sam Brunel, not only her presence to be a part of the basketball game, but is right there among the Virginia quartet. Just left the lineup, but the 4 that were in there with 6 or more points for Virginia to this point. That's one thing you notice right away, Lauren. The offense for Virginia thus far has been pretty evenly distributed.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely an even split, and to be able to rely on your bench, something that Virginia hasn't always been able to do, and the fact that they can do that with the injuries that they have is huge this early in the season.
Handled inside. William and Mary hangs with it, and a foul called as Taylor tried to body up right in the heart of the lane.
Couple blocks in there, hands getting in there. This Virginia defense, I tell you, they have taken it up a notch since jump ball.
Saturday, we'll have week 12 of ACC Network football and quite a lineup, starting with 10th-ranked Louisville against Miami. That's at noon Eastern. Then the Hokies host the Wolfpack. That's in Blacksburg at 3:30. And we cap the day with Syracuse taking on Georgia Tech, an 8 p.m. kick there. All games available on the ESPN app as well, so you can watch anywhere, whatever your Saturday holds. Football winding toward closure around the country, and certainly in the ACC, much to keep an eye on this weekend.
We're not short of things to watch, that's for sure.
No, this is your time of year. If you like multiple sports, you know, field hockey, the soccer's beginning to wind down, football, the picture championship-wise becoming clear, basketball now underway, volleyball pushing toward championship time. The list goes on and on of what you can feast your eyes on. Tribe fans will do so on this drive toward the bucket. How about that play? An and one opportunity coming for William and Mary.
Yeah, now he's able to get one down. First one of the game. She just uses her quickness to get by Clarkson. Clarkson doesn't think she got touched, but now he thinks otherwise.
Nahi Kali has started nicely after only playing a handful of minutes, 6 minutes to be specific in the opener. She had 4 assists in the VCU contest, serving as one of the catalysts and another of those transfers, part of that Sweet 16 run for Villanova last year before coming to William and Mary. One thing you notice on both of these rosters, a great deal of experience that will factor in nicely, and it's such a luxury for these young coaches. The real challenge in many ways that they talk about, Lauren, though, is building the camaraderie, and there's so many things that even the William and Mary staff have been talking about that will hopefully lay those foundational blocks of building that chemistry and that camaraderie. This is going to be offensive. There's a moment they'll have something to cheer about. And this is a coaching staff that has taken it very intentional. The little things that are going to be necessary to create that leadership structure and build that chemistry.
Yeah, Cameron Taylor just picked up her second personal foul, heads to the bench right now. But on the leadership tip, as we see Taylor walking off is, you know, they are looking to build leaders not only on the court, but in the real world. We all know the ball stops bouncing at some point, and I think both of these leaders and head coaches have done a really good job of emphasizing that.
Well, and have to love what they see with the answer on the other end of the floor from Beckwith after you see the departure of Taylor. A bucket for William and Mary. Timeout on the floor. We'll take it as well.
These moves looking real nice in the future. These moves looking real nice in the future. Give it one a minute, look nice. Look nice.
I don't think they're ready for this.
Lauren, I know you were incredibly impressed this week when talking about the style, the nature of the leadership structure put in place by these young coaching staffs, and William and Mary's style, a reminder of that.
Yeah, I mean, every leadership looks different to every player. Both coaches have talked about that. Both coaches have emphasized the importance of getting to know their players off the court. And you can see that that's what it's going to take when you have transfers, when you have newbies coming and playing so much time for each program.
And the Leadership Council a part of that for this William and Mary team. And, you know, Coach Aaron Dickerson-Davis saying, you know, once a month at least, dinner at her house, right? Bringing the team over, doing so many things that are necessary just to help these new faces with so many young freshmen and transfers begin to gel together, which is the heart of what makes for a successful basketball run. And this makes for a successful trip down the floor for Virginia. Didn't look to be in control initially, but boy, is the finish very strong there for UVA.
I'm not even sure how she got between those players, but her vision to see what she is capable of, hey, I'll take it all every time down.
Well, and give Brown 9. And among those on the floor right now, she's the leader with her start for Virginia. Good job to stop, wait, and find the window as Johnson lays this home.
Yeah, sometimes she just doesn't look like a first year to me, you know? Making the smarter plays, not always working super hard to get them, but deceiving her defense each time down the court is exactly what Kamara likes to do.
Well, and after some possessions, as here's a three ball to answer for William and Mary, after possessions in which shooting was, as we said, a little difficult early, both teams beginning to string some positive trips offensively together now.
The pace, it's the pace of the game that's kind of gone up a tempo, and it's putting them back into that practice mindset. Coach Mox kind of talked about it over the weekend. Hey, she wants her players to play with the pace that they practice. And look at this. She looks comfortable to me. She looks like she has done that several times down. Virginia loves this fast ball game. And for them to be able to make the shots and make smart decisions before doing so is a huge example of what Coach Mox is talking about.
Well, and right after she made the shot on the other end of the floor, Nascimento is whistled for the foul. Virginia mentioned it a little bit earlier, but taking advantage for the most part of their trips to the line. 7 free throws made. And now the 9 attempted for UVA, and the Cavaliers lead back to 10. Little disruption just as the drive was starting, and the whistle comes as a foul is called on Virginia.
Yeah, William and Mary is setting a lot of screens in their offense, but it's not the screens that's getting Virginia hooked up. It's the straight line drives that are beginning to hurt them in the personal foul category.
Not just the first on Vaughn, though. So with the exception on the Virginia side of things of what you saw Taylor a moment ago, everything fairly spread out to that end. We talked about both the youngster and the leader for William and Mary picking up a couple of early ones in this first half. Just something to watch as this is sent into the interior. Lauterbach trying to find some space near the baseline. There was none, and William and Mary defends it beautifully.
Didn't let Lauterbach turn her shoulders to that baseline to get a hook shot look at the basket. Great defense there.
Lead 10 with 90 seconds to play in the opening half. William and Mary a chance to get it back to single digits. Down the right side of the lane, and that'll roll off the other side of the rim. Brown steps inside to get a shooting window, just a little short. Inside a minute remaining in the half. Long three, too strong.
Yeah, that might have been a rush shot there for William and Mary. They've been doing so good at these half-court sets. Although they haven't been translating to points, they're getting a lot better looks.
Well, that rattles around and eventually falls for Vaughn, her first points of the night. On the shot clock as a three goes up. And in an effort to rebound it, the whistle comes with 24 seconds to play.
Wasn't able to corral that one in, but this Virginia team doing a great job on the boards. They have 28 to William and Mary's 19. Something that they emphasize coming into this season. Coach Mox has emphasized since her arrival to Charlottesville. Well, and after the teams were trading buckets there for a late first half sequence, Virginia holding William and Mary to no field goals on the four most recent trips down the floor, scoring for the Tribe coming by way of just that single free throw from Beckwith. Shot clock off for Virginia. And it's out of bounds off of William and Mary, so it'll stay with Virginia. Lauterbach had a good look there, but got blocked on the tail end of that play. But you see players like Yantavon coming over and encouraging her to stay at it. Virginia needing to put it up quick, and nothing falls ahead of the horn. So the Cavaliers 34-23. How about that first half, Lauren? Oh, yeah. They've been getting it done this game so far. And like you said, Mox has a lot of mottos. One reminding her team to stay in the moment on this night in order to keep what has been a solid start to the season going. Continuing to battle in there, but even though Smith in the end has the final look at it for Virginia, no points on this trip down, and a three that rims off for Nascimento on the other end. Yeah, Nascimento has been able to hit one of those so far in this game. How about this response on the other end of the floor? That'll grow the Virginia lead, and Johnson picking up right where she left off from that first half. Quick shots in the half-court set isn't always bad when they are wide open like Kamara just was. Already in double figures now, 11 for the youngster who is 5 of 7 from the field for UVA in this one. Wide open. I mean, the rotation just wasn't there. The timing for Kamara was. And her first three of the night. And it's going to be Clarkson taking a seat now as a third is picked up by Clarkson, and that will bring Brunel back in. We didn't really kind of underscore it at the half, but it was one of the storylines of that first half of action that Brunel is back in the lineup for Virginia. They're still waiting the arrival of Paris Clark, obviously. Caden Lawson expected to come on at some point, and then ultimately and eventually Mira McLean, who really was the foundational piece for Virginia's start a year ago. But just the presence of Sam Brunel was a factor in that first half, Lauren. McLean, Brunel, two names who led this team last season in scoring, and you can tell they're difference makers when they get on the court, just as you said, Jason. And I think for Sam, it's going to be about getting back into the rhythm of things. There's new players out there, and so just seeing her get comfortable is always going to be good to see. Talk about the Virginia natives so much. She's another of them, even though she came full circle from Notre Dame back to the University of Virginia. And McLean, of course, who injured that knee in January, the UConn transfer who was the unquestioned leader of this squad a year ago. No real timetable on her return. The Cavaliers trying to hold serve until she's back in the lineup. Talk about a leading by example player. I mean, she laid it out every single time she was on the court. Every minute that she played, she was able to not only produce, but also energize her teammates with and ones, with rebounds, with her cheerful energy on the court. It made a huge difference, but we can tell that has rubbed off on current players.
And each of those 15 games in 22-23 in which she played, a difference maker, and everybody else, just about everybody else, expected back at some point in November. One box already checked, as we said at the start of this conversation with Brunel, but all eyes on the return of McClain. Virginia, when they get to 14, and that's a number worth mentioning because it'll be the extent of the roster when Virginia has all 14 healthy, and that's saying something because there is more depth for UVA than there was by sheer numbers a year ago. Not just the return from injuries, but the numbers alone will provide UVA greater depth in year 2 under Coach Mox.
A lot more rest down the line. We saw players just getting fatigued early in games, and another shot for Kamora Johnson goes up.
Now that one rims off, but Smith was there to put it back. It was not to be. The foul picked up just a moment ago by Beckwith, just her second on that trip down. And on the other end of the floor, William and Mary makes the defensive stop count back where they were at the half. But Virginia has an answer, quick slice, and a transition basket for Brown.
Cross-court layup for Jillian Brown. She does it with such ease every single time down. It often seems like she prefers to go that way rather than staying on the ball hand side.
Foul going to be picked up by Johnson. That's a first personal on Kamora Johnson, and that's great news. You mentioned that, you know, for a young player, learning when and where to pick those up along the way can be key as well, and something that has not been an issue for her tonight, as she is tied as Virginia's leading scorer. Both she and Brown with their work in this third quarter, up to 11 apiece now. Hard drive toward the basket, but this is going to be the reaction tells everything for Taylor. Whistled against her.
And she thought she had a clean layup there. But Nascimento was able to, or I'm sorry, Frisbee Smith actually was able to step in there and get the charge. That would have been Taylor's first basket of the night. Field goal, I should say. She's made one free throw tonight.
Absolutely. Turnover ending up giving William and Mary a chance. Fire away on a three that would cut it to 10. That will not go, and it will end up going to the other end of the floor. That foul against Beckwith. She picks up a third personal. So Beckwith the first on the William and Mary side of things to pick up a third personal foul in this contest. Up top, that's going to be, looks like Nascimento, who was whistled for the contact. And here come those substitutions, sitting Beckwith, as she did pick up that third foul just a moment ago.
Yeah, Beckwith picked up a third, as well as on the other side, we see Cameron Taylor with 3 right now. Interesting decision to keep her in there as a quite aggressive player.
Well, and still aggressive. Look at Taylor go to the floor on your cue, Lauren, as she's scrambling for the basketball and playing with the same intensity that you've become accustomed to. Here's how aggressive it has become.
I swear she's not mic'd up. I swear. This is just how she plays. If there's a 50-50 ball, she is going for it with all of her body and all of her heart.
And I go back to your point, 3 fouls in all. That's the effort you get from Taylor, who will now take a seat. Surprising, as you said, just the 1 point has pulled down those 5 boards today. Taken away by Brown. Boy, that lost off the dribble by Brunel. She'll try to save that in the direction of Nguyen, but it's into the hands of the Tribe. Rolfe tried one in the heart of the lane. Rolfe, one of the 4 native Virginians on this William and Mary roster. Talk about those who have stayed home in the Commonwealth to contribute to the foundational stages of the William & Mary program under second-year head coach Aaron Dickerson Davis. And Aaron Dickerson Davis, who we mentioned just a little bit earlier, Lauren, was on those Wake Forest staffs. We were talking ACC scores and storylines just a little bit ago. On the Wake Forest staffs, the 2 postseason tournaments, including the long drought, ended as she helped lead Wake Forest to the postseason as an assistant. And what did she tell us? She said there was a moment at Wake Forest I'll never forget. She said Jen Hoover came in, had an NIT T-shirt on, tore it off of her underclothing and said, "I will not accept another one of these. We're going to the NCAA tournament this year." She talked about how that team came together, what a thrill it was to sit at Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum and watch the selection show as Wake made it back to the NCAA tournament. She has those same type aspirations for this William & Mary program.
Sending a message. Talk about it. I mean, that really set the tone for a coach. You can only imagine how it set the tone for a team that then went on to appear in the NCAA tournament. She is a great leader for this William & Mary team that is looking to be, you know, heavy hitters in the CAA.
Well, and we have discussed the similarities for these two coaches, what they were able to do in their inaugural season. She led them to 18 wins, a 12-6 mark, which was tied for the most league wins in program history. And they reached the conference semis with the first postseason win since 2019. That's a snapshot of what year one was like for this Tribe program under her leadership.
And a bit of a different defense here for William & Mary. They start off in what looked like a zone, and now they're matching up as it gets deep into the time clock.
To 7 to shoot. Virginia will from the perimeter. Board pulled down by McGee, and a tie-up as the held ball will force the officials to consult the possession arrow, which points Virginia. McGee a rebound tonight in 6 minutes, looking for her first points. Will this be it? Everywhere but down for McGee from beyond the arc.
Man, that's tough. She's not known to be a huge scorer for this team, but she's able to get these shots in sometimes that really boost her confidence.
3 on the other end, and that will go for Geddes. There is the youngster that crossed the state line from North Carolina, the freshman phenom for William & Mary. Gets it to single digits. You look up at the scoreboard all of a sudden, the separation just 9.
Yeah, it took a while for William & Mary to get that second shot of the half. Virginia they both only have 2 field goals this half.
Well, trying to answer on the other end, but the last 2 from the perimeter, the rim has been unkind on this case for Brunel. And William & Mary back up the floor. Frisbee Smith had designs on taking a real bite out of this lead. That 3 did not go, but a moment ago, Lauren, this one did.
Able to knock down from the wing to try to close out this gap. 31-40, Virginia.
William & Mary cutting the Virginia lead to single digits. A couple of emerging programs, and often, Lauren, emerging programs are built on the efforts of impact freshmen. And a couple of the youngsters really rising above tonight on both sides.
Well, you hear that freshmen are more coachable, right? They come into a program hungry, and both players, Geddes and Johnson, have been doing everything that their team needs at this point in the game. Geddes came off the bench and has 10 points, 4 of 6 from the field today.
Geddes, who really saw a nod to how important she was going to be as she started the opener and has played in all 3, was 1,000-point scorer as a junior in high school there in Hickory, North Carolina. That scoring translating to the college ranks for William & Mary in the beginning stages of her career. Well, this is a player that has such a high ceiling in her own right and comes from a strong athletic family, a dad that played football at Lenore Ryan. And she was a volleyball player, a soccer player, as well as a basketball player. Handled everything she could in the high school ranks, and that freshman keeping William and Mary in the thick of things.
You know,
not the only, I was just going to say this, not the only player that has handled multiple sports, and that's true at a whole new level for Nascimento, the transfer from Manhattan. She was a multi-sport athlete at the college ranks at Manhattan, Lauren.
Yeah, pretty good in volleyball. That's where she was. She was pulled out of a basketball meeting or a meeting or some type where the Virginia or volleyball team was looking for players to add to their roster. And she rose her hand and was able to join that team. And her mom played in volleyball as well in Brazil.
Yeah, those multi-sport athletes certainly making their athletic ability, their presence known on a night like this. And this William and Mary team, with the use of some of those key contributors, all of a sudden having cut it to 7 and a trip to the line for Frisbee Smith to inch the Tribe a little closer. Well, you will want to hang close to the ACC network, as well as keep your eye on the ESPN app for the men's basketball doubleheader on Friday. 9th-ranked Duke hosting Bucknell. It's North Carolina hosting UC Riverside. Again, both of those coming up on Friday on the ACC network, available to you on the ESPN app. The lead, just 2 possessions, trimmed to 6 inside of 3 minutes remaining in the third quarter.
New defense for William and Mary has really paid off in the half-court set.
Seven to shoot for Virginia. And as she was trying to grab the handle on the basketball, the blocking foul call comes in as Smith was working down the lane. That foul going to, it would appear, go against McKeska. And you talk about players that you're keeping an eye on. With 3 of them, she just picked up her 3rd. That's true of Beckwith as well on the William and Mary side of things. And remember, both Vaughn and Taylor alongside Clarkson sharing that distinction, as Virginia keeps an eye on some foul trouble the rest of the way.
And Coach Davis talked about that heading into this game. She said if she can keep her players on the floor and out of foul trouble, that would really help their consistency on offense to be able to run through plays.
Smith with her 3 points in the contest, all coming from the free throw line, now having made 3 of 4 with those going down. And a traveling violation as it'll go back to Virginia.
There's something about that corner over there. There have been a lot of quick feet in that corner to try to get a good shot on both William and Mary and Virginia squads.
Cavaliers trying to break the drought from the field after scoring from the line the last time down. Looked like it was going to be broken. Second effort will be enough for Taylor, and that is her first field goal of the night. A 0 for 7 start to one of Virginia's staples, one of the key contributors for UVA, finally able to break through from the floor. And the basket will count as the foul is going to be picked up by Clarkson, and that's going to be her 4th.
Taylor stays at it down low, and then on the other end, Nyla Young's like, I can do that too. We've seen Nyla Young in previous games be quick-twitched in that paint. And tonight she's had to slow down with this Virginia defense due to Taylor, Clarkson, and other guards just sticking their hands in when she puts the ball on the floor. But there she was able to get it out the rim and put it right back up quick.
Completes 3 the old-fashioned way and not just to brush right by it. That was a 4th personal on Clarkson as she takes a seat for UVA. A quick trip down the floor as Brown lays it home. She's now the leading scorer on both sides with 13.
Yeah, I need a little bit more of that for Virginia. They do a really good job of pushing tempo in the first half, and William and Mary answers.
Well, keeping it there inside of a 10-point window. Virginia trying to get it back just there, and they will. How about the 3 ball that puts it back in double figures for Brunel?
Don't let her get comfortable out there. She was searching for that, took her time, and lined it right up.
Has she been a contributor in her return tonight for UVA? and played pretty solid defense there. Not much you can do, just great footwork and the finish for Young. But it's like we saw this movie before, a quick transition bucket for Brown. She has 15.
Yeah, about 2 or 3 times at this point for Brown. Virginia trying to push that tempo as they respond to William and Mary's excitement on offense.
Tribe able to work the deficit down to 6 in the middle stages of this third quarter. But Virginia now having reestablished a 10-point advantage and a chance to build on it. Nothing but the twine for Brunel from way downtown.
There she goes, getting comfortable out beyond the three-point line. They're lining up these shots for her. There was a screen and a re-screen for that one.
12 for Brunel, who is 4 of 6 from the field, and Virginia having held William and Mary at arm's length in the closing stages of the third after the Tribe.
To their advantage.
I have to appreciate the way Virginia responded to the mid-third quarter run from William and Mary, which had the Tribe within 6. Coach Mox's team pushing it back out to double digits entering the fourth period of play, and we get a foul call as they go to work here. That's going to be on Brown, just a second personal on Brown. Johnson disrupts and caromed off her for a 3-ball. Here's some work for William and Mary in the interior. And the board pulled down by Taylor. Seventh rebound of the night.
Slow down things there for Virginia. Opportunities for them to go fast, but they were able to slow it down and get a nice look inside for the and one.
Now she's just as good on this end of the floor as Taylor lays home. A chance to go to the line the old-fashioned way. Ends up
knowing what your player likes to do. 4 out, 1 in, and let her work.
Ends up contributing on both ends of the floor. Just going to say a moment ago that she picked up her 7th rebound on the other end. That's even with Brown for the top total on the team. And here, Beckwith picking up her 4th personal on the good work on the interior, as you documented it, Lauren, for Taylor.
A little bit earlier, we talked about Mira McLean being able to really score, but also those boards. And for Virginia to have another player like Jillian Brown help out down low on those boards has been huge this point in the season for them.
To shoot as that rims off. Taylor was there with designs on another, but it's into the hands of Frisbee Smith. A reset for William and Mary. And this time pulled down by Brunel. Inside, Taylor. Boy, this is similar to the season opener in which Taylor was among those coming to life in the fourth period as Virginia pulled away. She finds all kind of open real estate down low this time.
And if it's not broke, don't fix it. She's able to use her body to get that position.
Boy, no look for Geddes. The freshman has been impressive and now has 12 after laying that home.
Yeah, quiet in the second half, but the ability to just spark out when she needs to has been huge.
Back inside. The basket won't go this time, but Taylor will to the charity stripe to shoot 2.
I mean, had a slow start to this game. Even 3 fouls, but it hasn't stopped her tenacity in the paint. Using every part of her body to make sure she gets good position. Her guards are passing it to her at that offside hand, and she's just able to finish.
Second team all ACC. Accolades for Cam Taylor coming in. Marquette transfer who's in her 5th year. Illinois native. Beginning to get the stats to come along here as she's on the doorstep of 8. That's a 9th point for Taylor. And with this free throw, she is in double figures tonight. And again, closing in on that rebound-wise, has 7 of those boards pulled down as well. You saw Clarkson return also with those 4 fouls. The lone player on the floor right now with that designation. Beckwith, who has 4 for William and Mary, has taken a seat. And here's number 4, is down the right side of the lane goes Brown, and a whistle will be charged against Geddes. Yeah. That for Geddes was her 3rd personal. Well, the next edition of All Access, the ACC Live, premieres on Sunday, highlighted by Notre Dame women's soccer, NC State men's soccer, and the field hockey team from Louisville. You'll get unprecedented access to the lives of student athletes, coaches, staff, parents, and fans. It's at 6 Eastern on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. Further into the interior, just a little too strong, this effort for Young. William and Mary hanging with it and battling to pull it away as Clarkson inside.
Few attempts there to corral that rebound for Virginia. William and Mary was able to come in there and take it the first time, but this time Virginia wins that battle.
Yeah, well, it is the Florida State transfer, another of those grad students out of state of Texas, battling for the win of possession. Virginia having pulled away a bit here at the 7 and change mark in the final period. Trying to put the finishing touches on what would be a 3-0 start to the Young campaign. And seems like every trip down the floor, Virginia taking another step in the right direction. The emergence of Taylor, one of the key reasons Virginia is pulling away in the 4th.
Greatness is
taking over the paint. She is just so aggressive right now. She didn't hit her first field goal until the 3rd quarter, but in the 4th quarter, she has been perfect, 3 for 3 from the field.
And Lauren, those margins you referenced related to the 4th quarter continue to climb. A +14 scoring margin for Virginia through the first couple of contests, and they have outscored William and Mary 11-2 to begin the 4th here in the 3rd game of the year. Nice drive and a solid job to lay that home as well by Nascimento.
Yeah, slow help defense there. Cameron Taylor didn't get her feet outside of that circle. It was a perfect layup there.
Averaged 9.5 and 2 rebounds per game at Manhattan, the multi-sport athlete, before transferring to William and Mary. She has 8 in this contest tonight. And Virginia with an answer on the other end as Vaughn has a bucket. You know, we talked about so many of the family connections. One connection we didn't get into, and these families so critical, their support of these programs in building the next phases. And, you know, you look over, you see one of the key contributors off the bench in Lonnie Brown, whose father D is well known to the sport of basketball in the NBA for over a decade. A sister, Lexi, who played for the Sparks, won a WNBA championship for the Sparks, part of the William and Mary roster. And, you know, it takes that kind of family support. You think about it with the bucket scored a moment ago by Nascimento. You think about the athletic background of her family. These coaches talk about just how much support they get from the parents, from the siblings. And it takes all that as you're building a new program, Lauren.
Yeah, it's that support, that trust, knowing that you're sending your kids away to a great coach who cares about them off the court as well. And both in William and Mary, you see that. You see the love from the head coaches and the support that you talked about from Brown. I mean, that's another reason why Coach says that she's a part of that leadership council that William and Mary's women's basketball team has. That she just has it in her, right? She has it in her blood to be a competitor and to lead people.
She said they will see the Brown family on the trip to Miami as the schedule rolls on. A team not shying away from playing a very difficult schedule, and this beginning to trend toward what looks like it's going to be a continue of the difficult start for William and Mary. The record a bit deceiving as they played 2 very close games, and Virginia starting to really pull away here but this is a team that will be battle-tested before all is said and done. This fourth quarter surge for Virginia that's becoming a trend on the year, impressive.
Continues with a McGee three. She's 1 of 2 from long range today.
Well, and McGee, tried for so long to notch that first point, a contributor in so many other areas, and now has that first basket. You said it, 1 for 3 from the field, and good for 1 of those 2 threes. William and Mary will try one on the other end. It will not go. A reset for the try. It will be Virginia ball as Taylor was in there battling for the rebound. Well, Virginia in the fourth. Something to behold, Lauren.
One shot at a time, and this time it's a McGee three to help extend this lead by 20.
Just over 4.5 remaining for Coach Mox and her team to put the finishing touches on what has been a nice second half surge for Virginia, and it comes at a nice time for the Cavaliers as well, Lauren, because you begin to look down the road a bit at what's ahead. This is a team about to be tested in the non-conference portion of the schedule.
On Sunday, they have number 25th team in the country in Oklahoma coming to Charlottesville. It is their orange out game, so that will help having fans rally into JPJ. But you said it, they have Tulane after that, and national champions in LSU. Every possession in this game counts because of those games coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be part of the Cayman Islands Classic, in which Tulane and LSU will be participants. So this next stretch for Coach Mox, and one of the good, I guess, news elements for this team right now, the fact that Brunel was able to return tonight. So Virginia getting some of the key pieces back as they trickle toward this important portion of the non-conference slate. So she was everything you would want her to be in the return tonight, which is good news for UVA.
That, and it helps that they faced adversity, from off-season to even these first few games. They've been able to overcome the adversity, overcome plans not going the way that they wanted it, and it's boding them very well right now.
Pauly follows her shot and is able to drop home a basket. Put her in the scorebook tonight. An impressive moment for Katie Pauly, one of the second years out of the state of Missouri. Did a nice job on that end of the floor offensively for UVA. After McGee tries another, William and Mary in transition, opts for the three, and that caroms off into Virginia's hands.
Yeah, you talked about Katie Pauly. Every time she comes in, she's looking for a bucket. She's a bucket getter.
Major scorer in her high school career, and as we said it now, among that second-year group for UVA. Rebound to Beckwith. Beckwith out there with 4. Vaughn also on the floor for Virginia with 4 once again at 3 and change remaining. Nearly banked home. Underneath, McGee, an inside bucket to go with that 3 a few moments ago. 5 for McGee tonight.
McGee, she's able to do that in the paint. After their first game of the season, Coach Mox kind of talked about her ability to learn 2 positions at one time. It's difficult, but she's making it work. When she's out on the wing, she's able to shoot the 3. Whether or not they're going in, she looks confident in the positions that she's been given to her.
One of the in-state products, played her senior year at IMG Academy after starting her career at Louisa High School. Another of those that has brought great energy because of her home connections. Well, another reminder, Oklahoma and Virginia, we've been talking about it. It'll be at 2 Eastern right here from JPJ. You'll be able to witness that on the ACC network ahead of Bucknell and 19th ranked Louisville. That's a 4 p.m. tip. All of that Sunday on the ACC network and available to you on the ESPN app. Reaching around as Pauly as the drive started. First personal picked up by Pauly What are your thoughts on Geddes tonight? Going to be no doubt a key part of the future for William and Mary. She's shown us some moments in this one.
I see her creeping back into that starting five, Jason. I mean, her intensity on offense, her ability to break down a defense, to get to the hole and get other people involved. I mean, her confidence has not been shaken in this game. And for a young player, that's what you want to see.
And a staple in the lineup, a starter in the opener. Lauren, I'm with you. You would think she's going to be in that starting lineup more often than not moving forward. That comes back down and will result in a tie-up.
And if you are William and Mary, I mean, this is a great test, right? They've been tested every game of the season. They've had extremely tight games as well. And so for them to continue to learn from it, continue to see who's producing and how to feed the hot hand when a player is hot. You know, they have Nyla Young inside who's able to step out and hit the mid-range. They have Geddes who's been able to shoot 2 for 4 from the three-point line. Aggressive players in Beckwith and Nascimento. It's all about utilizing them when they get going.
Lost by a single bucket to Norfolk State. And after the Norfolk State game, taking on VCU. That's the one that had some separation to it, like the matchup against Virginia here tonight. A close one against George Mason, already making some noise with what we showed you earlier in their battle with Pitt. And this is a team that, after tonight, takes on Tennessee State. They'll then wait an opponent in tournament scenario before returning home to close out the month against Old Dominion. CAA shakes out with Towson at the top, followed by Stony Brook, Northeastern, Delaware, Charleston, Monmouth, Drexel, North Carolina A&T, and William and Mary slated at ninth. But certainly the pieces there to exceed expectations for the second-year head coach who you saw just a moment ago for the Tribe. Inside the final 2 minutes, Virginia looking to put the finishing touches, and they've done so with a 22-8 split in scoring in the fourth quarter on what they hope will be a perfect start to the year. Just out of the reach of Lauterbach. It will stay on this end of the floor.
Yeah, the ability that Virginia has to be able to sit their starters during this time is huge too. You know, in prior seasons, they've had to play up into the last 30 seconds, 10 seconds of a game.
Well, and it allows contributions like this. Here is Lauterbach in the scorebook herself. She's able to lay one home. The grad student out of the state of Wisconsin who transferred over from K-State, able to make a fourth period contribution. You know, one thing you notice in the Virginia shoot-around, she's one of the more vocal and engaged leaders on this squad. And to see her come in, get some valuable minutes, certainly serves you well when you think about the depth that Virginia's maybe as clear a reminder as anyone, Lauren, is necessary to make it through a full college basketball season.
Yes, the competitive nature of practice. Coach talks about earning your time, earning your position, earning your starting position on the court. And every single white jersey on the court has earned their opportunity and their time to play. And you see that when they come into the game, no matter how much time they get.
Also gives Virginia nice size in the interior. Shot from the perimeter going to be dropped here. That's somewhat of an exclamation point on what is an 80-point night for Virginia as they have really surged in this fourth quarter. Think about it. 27 fourth quarter points for UVA. And they are going to win this thing going away with just 40 seconds or so left before the final horn. Withstood the early challenge from William and Mary. Stood tall when the Tribe worked it to a separation of just 6 in the third period. And able to come away with another impressive home victory tonight. Virginia just 15 seconds away from putting it in the win column.
Yeah, Virginia jerseys didn't get back on that one. But their ability to continue pressing, putting their foot on the pedal on offense to get good shots and not take quick or lazy shots.
Well, and who was that playing right down to the final horn? But Geddes, who added one more basket. She has 14 points tonight alongside 3 rebounds. And over 24 minutes play. Final seconds roll off the game clock. Coach Moxon, Virginia, off to a 3-0 start with an 80-51 win over in-state foe William and Mary.
Well, the fourth quarter